Welcome, everybody, to the BKBK podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, joined by my fellow co-hosts, Kerry Taylor, Brian Taylor, and Captain Kyle McKenna. We're bringing this podcast to you live from our studio in Westchester.
That's right.
Once again, just want to give a big shout out to Summit 68, who helped to get us on our feet. But we're flying like a jet on our own now, so you got to love it. But you can always go to summit68.com for all of your studio needs, big or small. Love the people over there. Brandon Cruz runs the show over there, so give him a shout at summit68.com. So on to our sports, Jets, Baldwin Bruins business, as usual. Week 1, Jets camp. It's in the books. Before this, during our last show, we had no idea what was happening with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold got into camp late.
Yep.
I believe he missed, 3 days?
Yeah, 3 days.
3 days, but our guy is in, and he's had a few practices, and he also played in the green and white scrimmage that they played last night. So let's talk about it.
I don't even think that we were anticipating any sort of holdout when we were on the air last time. That kind of came on us really quickly.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was something that he wasn't in camp yet. They hadn't signed him yet, so it was a threat that he might not be there for the first day, and obviously he missed 3 days of camp. But all in all, he's in camp now. He's looking good. Green and white scrimmage look pretty good there. No scoring drives. So I think, I don't know what it is with the media right now. They're all over him like they love him to death, and nothing he can do is wrong. But 9 of 11, 89 yards, I believe. One strip sack, which, you can take it with a grain of salt because it's a scrimmage. But he worked a lot with the threes. So he didn't have the benefit of working with the first offensive line a lot. But he still looked good. Accuracy was there. I saw some good throws that he made, which was very good as well.
He didn't throw a touchdown? Didn't he throw one touchdown? Or was that McCown that threw the touchdown?
McCown was the only scoring drive of the night.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that defense is always ahead of the offense at this point in the season. But that's the only thing. Other than that, I mean, listen, 9 of 11, you'll take that wherever. So if you extrapolate that out to a full game, then I think you're going to see a – what, man?
Quarterback rating of 180?
90% completion percentage. But no interceptions. No interceptions. So
and also he makes great plays on the run. So
yes,
when there is a faux pas, fumble snap, or some kind of thing that might throw off a quarterback or breaks down the play, he can scramble out. He likes to use his feet. And he makes great – they say that he is one of the best quarterbacks or young quarterbacks that they've seen that can make accurate throws under duress while running. So I love that intangible about him because everything else can be coached up to fix. You see what I'm saying? So, I like the kid a lot. They were talking about his throwing motion. I kind of like his throwing motion as well. Mm-hmm. He's accurate, and – I just really like this kid. I just like the hope that he's giving us. I'm smiling right now. I'm like, I'm cheesing,
You can't help but not to smile at this guy, huh? I'm like, who is this dude?
Bro, I'm smiling because I'm sitting next to you.
Of course.
My man, my best boy,
easy.
My boy,
Hey. I got sunburn under there, man.
Yeah.
Easy.
But yeah, man, so I really like what I'm hearing. And the thing was, as far as what was holding up the negotiations and stuff, it was this type of literature or dialogue in the contract that, from what I'm hearing, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it was about like if they decided to cut him or whatever, or if he gets suspended, then they have the autonomy to void the whole contract.
Yeah,
and listen,
that was stupid.
That's dumb. I would be against that too. I would tell my agent, listen, Jimmy Sexton, you better get over there and tell those dudes, I want my money.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Not gonna be able to do it at all. Give me my money, for real.
I have a little bit of information on this. Like this whole when we first were talking about it in the beginning of the week, it was more offset language was what they were calling it.
Yep.
I guess that's more of a general term.
Unpack that term for our audience. What offset language means.
So offset language means like it's not like on the field based things, language that puts you into parameters and specifications that go beyond your performance. And I think that you're seeing a trend, if I'm not mistaken, of this disciplinary forfeiture offset language, where if you do something off the field like domestic violence or something along those lines, you can have your contract voided, like you said. Also, I'm hearing things about the new helmet rule and how you could get parts of your contract voided if you are a repeat offender of the new helmet rule, where you're like if you were a Cortland Finnegan type that was always getting the unsportsmanlike for the way that you played, that might affect you in the contract area. So,
but then
I don't know
if
I
you're
don't know if this is a league push or if this is a franchise push though, because it's not just Sam Darnold; it was the other draft picks too.
Right. If you happen to be like a Cortland Finnegan type of player, you could just get Andre Johnson just to punch you in the face a few times, right? I mean, and that'll settle that, right? No, I'm playing.
I think a lot of it is driven by the teams, though. I mean, because the teams end up, putting the language into these contracts. The league has really nothing to do with what the contract looks like from that perspective. So I really think it's the teams kind of running that. And if they all say this is what we want in the contracts, so that's what ends up getting into it. Part of the offset language also is if you, let's say the team cuts you and you end up going to another team and, you were set to get $6 million that year. New team gives you $2 million. The player wants to make $8 million.
Both.
Right? And instead, the team is like, hey, if you made $2 million over there, then that's $2 million less I have to pay you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
and that, but that's pretty standard though.
It's standard, but I just don't. Standard. I don't agree with that standard, but I get it.
Yeah,
but I don't agree with it because if I'm no longer with you and I negotiate a new contract with Team X, give me my money. Mm-hmm. And then we had a contract. Basically, players have no power when it comes to contracts whatsoever. Only the team does. And I don't like that, especially when you're playing such a violent game like football where you can get hurt and your career can be affected, your life, and your position in the NFL could just be over like that. And then now you're trying to shortchange me just because I'm leaving your team and you cut me.
Right.
Okay. Right. I can't, you can't fulfill your end of the contract and pay me what's contractually stipulated in my contract. And then I got to, and then I'm negotiating new terms with this other team. I can't make both.
That's why I think there's the inequity, because your only option or your only asset as a player is the signing bonus. That's the only amount of money that you're able to keep. So for them to legislate that you can't keep a part of it if we decide that we're going to cut you.
Right.
That's where I have the problem. That's the problem that I have with that particular language.
And people think that when you get a signing bonus, you get all of that bonus up front.
No.
They break it up. Mm-hmm. If he's still on the team by, March, whatever, then they'll give him this and that. It's still guaranteed, but it's like they still break it up on you. Like, Sam Darnold is guaranteed to make $20 million. That's his signing bonus. But 2 weeks from now, he's not getting the whole $20 million when the funds come through.
No.
Right.
Give me my money.
Right.
Sorry.
So who else besides Darnold?
I wouldn't be surprised if like the stuff that goes on with Tom Brady and his outside trainer, that Alex Guerrero guy. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this offset stuff stems from things like that, where the teams want to protect themselves from what these players also do that may be like off the site. Preparation and stuff like that. I know you hear a lot of that. You don't ever really get a straight story from the Patriots, but there's been a lot of stuff written about how they don't really like what Brady does with the other guy. He doesn't really participate in the offseason program the way that they want him to. And I think that not just like dangerous behavior like riding a motorcycle or, skydiving, whereas that used to be the standard offset language. Like, don't play basketball at the local rec center when you just signed a contract for $10 million a year and then blow out your ACL or your Achilles. I think they're starting to add other offset language on there to protect themselves. Like, don't put yourself in a situation that we can't monitor. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of that stuff is involved in there as well. These teams are trying to micromanage, obviously, whether it's the national anthem or it's how they train. They're trying to micromanage what they do. And
here we go once again with the Patriots setting the tone of the culture, right? I mean, Spygate, Deflategate, with this guy.
Or the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are setting the tone of the culture too.
True.
And
very true.
Bringing that whole debate back into light, based on how adamant they are about the way they feel. And that's not me saying that one side is right, one side is wrong. I'm just saying that, these teams do look to dictate and manipulate how their players act. And, and then you have guys like T.O., regardless of how you feel about what he did with the Hall of Fame thing, they kind of push back on that. And they're really, really, there's a lot of animosity towards that. There's been a lot of animosity towards T.O. not going to that Pro Football Hall of Fame thing. I mean, I know that's not the topic we're talking about, but just
I hear you.
To put a bow on it, I guess.
Yep. So, you know what? Go ahead, Kyle.
The last thing I was going to say is also this whole Sam Darnold thing is another example of Chris Johnson having a situation that he had to deal with and getting it done. Going back to the anthem thing, Chris Johnson was the one that said he would pay for any fine for any player that did something that was finable in that regard. That was one of his first tests. His second test here was getting this guy in camp, and he did it.
Sure,
him and McKagan. So
he's shown leadership. He definitely
signs the checks.
Yeah, he's definitely shown some leadership there.
So do we think as a whole, Darnold being 3 days late to camp, so to speak, do you think that it'll affect the team? Do you think that he will make it and be ready by day one? Because there's been a lot of articles and stuff going around talking about it's important to get him in. And of course it's important to get him in, but how it could negatively affect his development as a rookie quarterback. I don't think it will. I think the kid is quite astute. I think he's athletic enough. I don't think him missing 3 days will put him behind the eight ball in any way. I just want to hear from you guys and see what you thought about that.
Well, I think team-wise, it was funny because they were talking about when he was walking on the field, they gave him the slow clap.
Yeah, they slow clap.
They gave him the slow clap. It's like, oh, thanks for arriving finally. So I think he's definitely endeared himself to the team, and he's part of the team there. So I don't think that's a problem. And they all understand the business side.
Yeah, exactly.
They've all been there or whatever. So, but they had to rib him a little bit. As far as development is concerned, I mean, he's been to every single practice outside of the three. So you're talking about OTAs, rookie mini camp, regular mini camp, all of those things. He's been there for all of those, and he's kept developing the whole time. So I think he's going to be good, regardless of missing those 3 days. Is it important? Sure. But, if this led to into August, late August, and obviously he missed all of training camp, then that'd be different.
Right. No, I agree with you. I'm definitely on your side when it comes to this. Like I was saying, I think he's an astute kid, and he's shown that he's mature. He just turned 21 in June.
Okay.
And he's a mature kid. And at that young of an age, he's already garnered the respect of the veterans and his fellow rookies. And I think he's got the ability or the capacity to become something special. I really do. And it might be just me being a hopeful Jets fan. But
I think it's a little early, personally. I think it's a little early.
I hear you, but you know what? You got to let me get my life right here on this one, B. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my life, because it's been so long. And yes, I get it. It's early.
I want it to happen too. He hasn't even played a preseason game yet. You
played a green and white.
That's a scrimmage.
I know.
He hasn't gotten hit yet. Red contact jersey. He hasn't even shed that yet. I mean, I'm just saying, let's slow down a little bit. I like the kid too. Let's just slow down, right? Because we try to get ahead of ourselves with a lot with the Jets. Let's put them on the field. In Detroit or wherever.
You hit me with the brand newbie and slow down.
Slow
already,
down.
Huh? Come on, B. Come on.
Right. I mean, if there's a time to get excited, this is where every fan of every team gets excited. It's preseason. everybody has a chance to be 500.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and
Right.
this is all we have, right? Like it's the draft, and we're excited, and then preseason
We are
we're
Super Bowl
excited,
bound.
and
What?
then the season happens, and it's like, boo, what happened?
Listen, I listen to the opinion. I value the opinion of my quarterback coach, Josh McCown,
Okay,
and everything he brings to the table as far as his years of leadership, and he is gushing about the young man. So
okay,
Coach McCown likes him.
wow.
Then I like him.
Gave him the clipboard already.
He did. He's been doing that since we launched.
Yeah,
I like what he's saying.
But I love it.
what Darnold is saying about starting in terms of, he's not cocky about it. He's like, his expectation is that he wants to start.
Sure.
Right. You have some rookies that would say, you know what, I don't think that I'm ready, or maybe I should learn. This dude is saying, look, I want to start. So I'm glad it's a competition to start. And my expectation is that I win.
So let's look at it at every single piece of it. So now it's the green and white scrimmage.
Yeah.
Has he passed McCown? No.
No.
No. So McCown came out 3 for 3, 52 yards and a touchdown to Bilal Powell. So it's not like he threw a 52 in the air, but it was a catch and run. So he was accurate, did what he had to do. Right now, Darnold hasn't passed McCown. Now, are we all in agreement there?
I would say it was not.
Yeah,
No,
everybody agrees on that.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I would like to piggyback off of what you're saying, but add my own little caveat. He's showing a lot more promise. He's showing
Really? Technical difficulty.
technical
Is that you,
difficulty.
Kyle?
All good.
Wow.
You sound like an alarm.
Burning down the house.
This is what happens in the live show, folks. Hey, let me cut to the shot. Check it out. Boom. Kyle left.
Gone.
No,
Kyle-
no
Kyle-
flames.
No flames. He's all right, folks.
Oh.
Our fellow Baldwin Bruin is all right. And then we cut back to the best looking guy here. There we go, Kerry. There you go.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood Kerry.
Right. Here we go. Right.
Check him out.
With the shade. Yeah.
Check out those aviators. There we go. Yeah. That's to prevent people from getting all like hot under the collar and riled up. We get the best looking guy.
Hey.
A nice shot here.
Hey, Kyle, did you have Fire Marshal Bill making a
Yeah,
appearance over
everything's
there?
okay.
Let me show you something.
Nobody called the fire department on Mercer Island. We are okay.
Good.
It's just sometimes when we cook some breakfast meats,
Bacon.
gets a little.
The
We have
bacon
that
grease.
sausage right now that you
That
that
sausage.
you can cut off like the fresh sausage.
Nice.
Pork
With the
sausage.
casing.
Nice.
More pork sausages, Mom.
Please. Funny. But
Yeah.
but what I was saying was I just feel like we're seeing him kind of unveil his skill set a little bit, which offers more upside. And I do not think that he's past McCown yet. I'm not even going to give him that he's past Bridgewater yet. But we are seeing the unveiling of a better skill set from our rookie quarterback, and there's promise there. So
We'll
that's
see him
basically
on
what I'm
Saturday.
saying.
We'll see him on Saturday national television.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, where it's like there's the preseason and there's the regular season, and the way the defense looks in the regular season is going to be vastly different than when it looks like in the preseason. And
Sure.
I think that both McCown and Teddy Bridgewater have much more of a grasp of NFL protection schemes for pass pro. And I think that's going to be a big factor in this, is that they can see what's going to happen next as opposed to what's happening right now, where Darnold's going to have a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to what you see is not what you get in the NFL
Right.
on defenses. And you guys have been, when I had the tickets at MetLife, the seats that we had, they were end zone seats, so you could really see
What he sees.
exactly what I'm talking about too, where it's like somebody comes out looking like it's a cover two,
Right.
and all of a sudden it's straight man across the board with an edge blitz coming like 2 seconds later. So that kind of acumen is something that he's going to need to develop. It's not going to be there right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why David Carr got sacked so many times.
But he's shown that, though. I mean, for all accounts, at minicamp and at the training camp right now, he's shown the ability to be able to check to a different play, and they were really talking about one play in particular that ended up as an incompletion, where he checked into
the back
something.
shoulder fade one.
Right. They were talking about that. He checked into something. They already had it protected, and then the back shoulder was going to end up as an interception, so he threw like a little duck that ended up falling incomplete, and that showed in the middle. He was like, all right, no, I can't throw it. He kind of brought it back in order for it to be an incompletion versus an interception. So he's kind of seeing it all come to fruition or whatever, which is great. That's
which is great, because I think some of the negative talk about him coming out was the decision making, and the interceptions.
Sure.
So I think it's just as valuable to teach a young quarterback when not to try to fit it in those small circles and those small windows, and to just throw the ball away.
Throw it away.
Yeah, I agree with you. And one of the things that they spoke about even more than the interceptions, and they also made the same comparison to Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. He had 22 interceptions coming in as a rookie as well. And look at Matty Ice. He was the MVP of the league in 2016. So he's shown great development and poise and become an upper echelon quarterback. But the thing that had me worried the most was the fumbling. And he did have a bad exchange, but I read last night that it was more of the center's fault than it was Darnold's. But still, we need to get that kind of under wraps, just so that, I don't even want to talk about that.
No.
So because we're going to be more inclined to blame Darnold because he's the first-round draft pick. He's the number 3 pick in the draft. So I think that we should try to remedy that. But like I said, this one probably wasn't his fault. I believe it was a shotgun, right?
Yeah, one of them was a shotgun.
And I think he made a couple errant shotguns as well. I think he did one with Bridgewater. So this guy Long needs to kind of just
get it together, Long.
Yeah, get it together. But I also hear that he's playing well. In spite of that, and he could potentially be our anchor, but I need to see more.
So what about Cannon, man? Can we talk about Cannon for a second?
Cannon. They need to bring that Busta Rhymes song back when he comes out in the field.
Oh, absolutely. I listen to it like every couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, from a running back position, Elijah McGuire goes down, going to be out. What did you say? Like eight games at minimum. Minimum broken foot, and he looked like LaDainian as per the coaches out there. But Cannon was somebody that I was really excited about when we drafted him. When I took a look at some of his highlights and stuff, and will he be able to catch up from Division II to the NFL speed of the game? And it looks like, given the opportunity, it has.
I think he's proving it. Yeah,
they were saying that he was the best player on the field last night.
Yeah.
And he looked really good. So I'm interested in looking at his speed when we play the Atlanta Falcons in the first preseason game, because I know they're going to get a lot of work, the second and the third stringers. I'm interested. I want to see what he's going to do out there.
Yeah, me too. I heard that his first 2 days of camp, he was like spinning.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know what was happening.
Yep.
And then he settled in, and he's not only running, he's not only running up the middle, he's taking it to the outside. He's not only doing that, he's catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about his blocking and his blitz pickup.
Yeah.
And he blocked, like they said that Darnold couldn't have made, I think he threw a 30-yard pass to Sterling.
Yep.
And he wouldn't have been able to do that if Cannon didn't step up and make a great block on a blitzing linebacker, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what keeps you on the field as a running back all 3 downs.
And then they always compliment him after giving him a first compliment. They always say, "Oh yeah, and he's really fast." So I love it. Yeah. I was a little skeptical. Not that I thought that the Jets made a wrong decision. I just hadn't seen enough from him.
Sure.
And then when you don't see enough of someone, and then they're from a D2 school, and then I thought he ran a little bit upright as well.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned, but I mean, listen, I love being proved wrong as long as the Jets have talent and they're doing well, because I just love it. I love it, So let's go and let's talk about Parry Nickerson. I'm going to let one of these two guys talk about it, former DBs, and then Coach McKenna, you can hop on there. But basically, if we had to label Cannon as our 1A standout or one standout as far as rookies are concerned, they're saying that Parry Nickerson is very close. So we can label him as a 1A as far as the effect that he's had in the DB position and just in camp in general, as far as making plays and showing his blazing speed, running a 4.32, the fastest in the draft, I believe. So let's talk about that.
I mean, in relation to him, again, my thing was we need to draft somebody that's going to push Buster Screen and make it a competition with this nickel as a nickel corner. So clearly, myself and my brother Brian are on the record as saying that we are not very confident in Buster Screen.
Not in love with him.
So, you think so?
At all?
Right. So
you think?
When I heard Perry Nickerson's name called and I started doing the research in terms of what kind of player he was, I got excited. So hearing that this guy is coming through in camp as a standout just makes my heart melt. You know what I mean? It's just
like going to the ice cream truck and getting that.
Exactly. Ooh, I got the
soft
ice cream.
Serve.
Right.
Yeah, the soft serve.
Ooh, I got my ice cream. I got my ice cream. Look, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this defensive backfield. I'm very excited about the defensive side of the ball specifically.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know we have our favorites on the offensive side of the ball, but I'm a defensive back at heart, and I like what I'm seeing from this group of defensive backs.
Can I know you about to say something, B, but can I tell you what I read yesterday? Just talking about the defensive backs that you were talking about. So, and we were talking about this a little bit off camera before we went live, but so all of our DBs except for Buster Screen are basically first and second year players on the Jets. They may not be first and second year players in the league.
Right.
But they're either free agent acquisitions, first timers on the Jets, or maybe just second timers.
With the exception of Buster Screen.
Exactly. So because of that, and we're playing in New York, they've named the group. This is kind of hot, everybody. They named the group, or they may have named themselves New Jack City.
Yep.
And then Kerry off camera was like, "Oh, that's a hot name. That's a hot name." But who's gonna be Nino Brown?
And Jamal Adams.
Actually, right. Kyle asked that question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gotta be Jamal Adams.
Gotta be Jamal Adams.
He's got the moxie.
He does have the moxie. just treat your right hand man better though, man. Don't.
Yeah, come on, man. my brother's keeper.
Yeah.
And my brother's keeper.
Yeah. What was that dude's name again? What's his name again?
There's a lot of lines from that movie.
Yeah. Rockabye, baby.
Woo!
We got all the DBs living in the Carter apartments.
That'll be hot. Just don't get on them PEDs. Wink, wink. No PEDs in that Carter house. But yeah,
You had a defensive Buster Screen there, Kyle. You want to talk about that?
So I was talking to you guys earlier about an article that came out in The Athletic by Connor Hughes, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite writers, my anti-Manish Shmeta.
Funny.
Who was my least favorite.
Manish
and Dan Leberfeld, my least two favorite.
You're on notice, Manish.
So anyway, this guy Connor Hughes wrote this article on Buster Screen, and he took apart some of the numbers, and probably wanted to make a point with his article, so he did the numbers the way he wanted to. But you take out the Miami game, which was a total Buster Screen debacle.
Bust.
He had some pretty good play outside, and in defense of Buster Screen, I will go so far as to say the Perry Nickerson thing is good. What early reports of the relationship between Perry Nickerson and Buster Screen is really good also.
Oh, that's good.
And Buster Screen is somebody who can play outside also. And also, we talk nickel all the time, but dime puts both of them on the field and allows you to play man with a lot of blitz possibilities. So if you got and we still have Justin Burris, this kid Derek Jones, they're raving about him.
Talk about him a little bit, because I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Derek Jones. I know you want to talk about him.
I'm just hearing he's a ball hawk. I think he has the most interceptions in camp right now.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
So
6th round pick.
Yeah, they said that McCagnon was quoted as saying that he was really swimming last year, and he's figured it out. So, our New Jack City D-backs, our young group of guys, definitely have a lot of promise, and they're going to open some stuff up for this group of outside linebackers that we talked about 2 weeks ago. Nobody knowing anybody's name, and they're even ramping it up a little bit. Name to watch out of the outside linebackers is Frank Louvu, who was an undrafted free agent from Washington State, who is pushing to get some playing time up there. You know, you have the newly undrunk Dylan Donahue. I guess
keep him out of the bar.
He pled guilty, didn't he?
Yeah,
to 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually when you have 2 DUIs. That's usually the sign of a real problem. And he did that like wrong way driving in the Holland Tunnel.
Gee whiz.
That could have killed somebody.
Absolutely.
So he's gone to rehab, and he said he's not had any alcohol since. So, you know, we've done pretty good with guys in recovery. Austin Safarian-Jenkins was a guy in recovery that had a good year for us. So maybe we have the support system for those guys. We have a lot of guys that have had DUIs. If you look at the police blotter from this season, Herndon had a DUI. There's a couple other people too. So
he wasn't even on the roster. You know what I mean? It's he wasn't even on the roster. So you gotta that's Miami for that. But no, I'm with you. I think, you know, it's a lot of stuff going on, minor, until you kill somebody, you know, as far as DUI is concerned. But what about the tight ends? Now you brought Herndon into it, or maybe I did.
Yeah, you did, but it's all good. It's all good. We love it.
I think we have a great tight end room right now.
You love
Herndon.
Herndon.
Young tight end room right now. Yeah. Big up me for Herndon. Yeah. But
well, they're saying that Neil Sterling is one of the best of the group.
Sterling, yeah.
Yep. So what's the word on Leggett? I mean, I feel like he is the most like enigmatic player on the team for the past 1.5 years. He missed all of last year. I didn't know much about him. I know more about him in college than I do at all in the pros. He's kind of tweaked now as far as him being hurt. I don't even know what his ailment is. But I do know that he played well in college, but I just haven't seen much of it.
Yeah, I don't really blame last year, you know, because he had the knee injury, and it happens now. But he has an undisclosed injury. I wanted to see him play. I wanted to see Nickerson play as well. So I'm a little upset with that. But maybe they make it out for the first preseason game. But I don't know. I mean, but the tight end room, which was a huge question mark coming into the year.
Huge.
You know, now they're all making plays. I mean, the plays that Darnold made, they were to tight ends.
Yep.
You know, I think the same thing with the other quarterbacks or whatever else, minus McCown. You know, it's and if you can get some good tight ends over the middle, and then you got Cannon running around there, and I like our wide receiving group. Mm-hmm. So we could really be an underrated team out here, and I'm starting to get a little excited. But we'll see where we land with the preseason games against real NFL competition, not just against ourselves. But I mean,
this is what.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
This is what McCown had to say about Neil Sterling to Connor Hughes from The Athletic. He said that he and the coaching staff love Sterling, that he's listed as a tight end, but he plays the H-back role, and McCown believes he brings something different to the offense. And he's still going to need the preseason to earn a roster spot, but he's making a name for himself.
Right. He's creating a position for himself aside. They think they compare him to a Garcon, or in terms of his ability to create space with his body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he had five catches against the Patriots in the last game of the season. So right. I think that's the impression that he left. Right. And he supposedly he had rough OTAs and early on in training camp, but now he's really coming on. So the depth charts that I've seen, and none of the depth charts are official. They won't let the depth charts be official.
No, not yet.
That's like a big thing, a big media rule that they have now. So, but I'm hearing that Tomlinson, Sterling, and Herndon, that's the three deep at tight end right
now. Without Leggett? Because of Leggett's
well,
injury?
Leggett's not on the depth chart because he's not participating. So.
And what about the guy with the real 1970s British first name, Clive?
He's out there making plays too, man. Clive is out there making
That's
plays
a Jamaican
too.
name too. Stop acting up.
Where you
like, why? Really? You ain't say that first, right?
No,
that's like Clive and Dexter. That's like one in one A.
Funny. No. It's more like Nigel and Donovan.
Donovan. Right.
Don't forget about Reginald.
Reginald, yeah, and Trevor.
Trevor all day.
Come on.
But you know what? Yeah, Clive. Yeah. Well, you know what I
Really?
mean. This got British roots, so
I'm just saying,
you know.
yeah, British roots. Didn't you just have Independence Day like yesterday?
Boxing Day or
Right,
something like that. Right. Hey, relax. Just because you're going to Costa Rica soon, you know.
Right.
Get your kiki on.
Right.
All right, let's not go.
He's like Stringer Bell. He's like that Stringer Bell. Like you don't think that he has an English accent, then all of a sudden he starts talking to you, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
you're not from Baltimore.
Right.
Nah.
Like, oh yes, bibbity bobbity boo. Oh yeah, but yeah, you know, so basically here it is. So the reason why I kind of said that is because I want to ask you guys this now, because I know I was having a heart attack. We need Travis Burton. We need to sign ASJ back.
Yeah.
But like, since camp has started, I haven't really thought about our tight end needs as far as like it being a detriment. I feel like we're on our way.
Well, you give McCagnon another plus, right?
Yeah.
Another check mark.
That's hard for you because
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know,
no, but it's good.
I
I mean, yeah.
I'll take it. You know, I was down on him, so now if I'm giving him some pluses, then hey, I'll take that. But
I'm not giving him preseason pluses.
I mean,
wait, hold on. Is it, what?
I'm not giving him preseason pluses.
Preseason pluses.
He ain't getting that. No.
Well, I mean,
That
you
should be a
did at the
segment.
draft.
All right.
I mean, you did at the draft. No, you didn't give him any pluses for anything he did in the draft or in free agency.
Yeah. Once the season ends, I don't start with the pluses until we start the first quarter of the season.
I mean,
Write it down.
First quarter of the season, first 4 games. That's it.
I mean, we're 4-0, and then we go 0 for 12. Then what happens from there?
you know, it's a rolling plus. It's a rolling plus
We
or
have-
negative. You know what I mean?
If we have 15 people that McCagnon drafted
that are still
on the
roster.
53-man roster from the last 2 years, that's pretty good.
But
I would say that, but again, my
It's
thing
only
about
good if
my
we're
thing
like above
about
500.
is what are you
Right.
doing after the second round? And if you're telling me that these kids that are drafted in the 6th round are playing in the first quarter of the season, then I would say, yeah, I'll give them a plus.
But the
for that.
question is, why are they playing? They could be playing because there's a lack of talent behind them, right? Or in front of them.
Yeah.
So because we understand what we did to the roster, we totally
Turned it
dismantled it.
over, and we got younger. We are significantly younger.
But are we better? I mean, and ultimately that's the question.
That remains to be seen.
And that remains to be seen, and that's all in wins and losses at the end of the day. Now, and we're going to get into our predictions later on in the season or preseason
After
or
the
what have you,
preseason,
right? After the preseason games are there, and we can kind of see the whole thing. But
See who makes our team, and right before the first game of the season. Yep, I'm with you.
what would determine success for you? Darnold looks good, but we're 5-11, or Darnold never plays and we're 8-8. So there's a lot of things that could kind of go into that. But I don't know. I haven't settled in on anything yet. I got to see what the preseason looks like, what the rest of the roster looks like. It all looks good in the green and white, and preseason. Everybody, like you said, everybody looks like they're 8-8
against each
going into
other.
it, against each other. But until you see somebody else and your game plan and players make plays, you don't know what you have.
Right. That's why I said
The last time-
give me the
the
first
last
quarter.
time-
Go ahead. I'm
The
sorry.
last time we started a rookie, it was Geno Smith, and he went 8-8, and I thought that was pretty good.
I hated Geno Smith.
I mean,
I didn't
retro,
like Geno. I mean, it's a rookie. A rookie went 8-8. That's the best record that we've had, other than the Fitzgerald year, Fitzpatrick year.
Yep.
And I don't even know if I felt good about that because of what we were coming off of. The Sanchez era prior to that, when we went to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row, and then there was the lull obviously between when Sanchez went in the tank, and then when Geno came back and like, all right, 8-8, that's okay. But so I don't know what we would feel like. I think back then we were still coming off the playoff feel. We haven't made the playoffs in forever, so we'd be satisfied with mediocrity. Right. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of torn between seeing if could we potentially be a playoff team with the players actually stepping up, the younger players coming up, all of that, Darnold maybe taking the reins or whatever, or is it all right, another developmental year where we take a couple steps from 5-11 to like a 7-9, but we look kind of good, Darnold looks good or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of torn, and I got to see the games before I can kind of say where I'm at.
I hear you. I would totally take. You just threw out 7-9. If Darnold is starting, and we are 7-9, I'm taking that as a successful season for us. As long as I see promise and development alongside that 7-9 record with Darnold, I'm taking that. And as long as I see an improvement in that defense as well.
How many games does he need to start?
Right, that was going to be my question.
I mean, because
I would like to see Darnold start 75% of the season. So that would make it what 16? So 12 games. If he can start 12 games and then win and be a touch over 500, so win 7 games out of the 12 that he's starting, I'm happy. I'm happy with him.
Like San Fran, I guess at that point, when Garoppolo comes on board, and now you feel good about the following year because he came on and he was 5-0 or whatever.
Yeah,
right. If he comes on and he is undefeated in 6 or 7 games,
forget about it. Forget about it.
What?
Give him his $100 million contract now. So,
especially because we're playing the Pats twice.
See how you just take it one step too far.
Oh Lord!
For no reason.
This is an optimistic group right now.
It is an optimistic group.
I'm not there yet.
Season pluses.
But here we go. Speaking of optimism, I was reading, that basically every draft pick that McCagnon made for 2018 has a very, very good shot at making the active 53-man roster. Not just the practice squad, but actually physically making the roster. Let's go from the top to the bottom, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong here or if I misspeak. Of course, Sam Darnold, he's making it, okay?
Sure.
Then our third-round pick, Nathan Shepard, is having a very good camp. He's already rotating in with the first team at the defensive end, 5 position / outside 3 technique. So, they're varying up their fronts. So, and I heard that he's having a good year. Chris Herndon, they're saying that he's probably the most athletic. Kerry loves it, right? The most athletic tight end that we have, and catches the ball really well. Who's our pick in the 5th round? We didn't have a 5th round.
Was that Nickerson?
No, that was the 6th.
No, that was.
I think we gave that up.
Lineman from
we traded it for Henry Anderson.
Yes, we traded that for Henry Anderson. So I'm not going to talk about Henry. He's a vet. Then we went to the 6th. We got Parry Nickerson. We had 2 picks in the 6th. Parry Nickerson, and then we had the defensive lineman from UConn. Yeah. And I heard that he's doing
well.
Yes.
Kyle's the only one that can say it.
How do you pronounce that name?
Foley.
Yeah.
Fatakasi.
There we go.
Axel Foley.
Foley's the short version of Foley is a short version of an African first name.
Yes. I think he's Nigerian, I believe.
But you got Cannon
he's from Far Rockaway,
Queens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah,
Trenton Cannon too.
And Trenton Cannon, and he's our 7th round pick, but he's been the most glowing one in our camp. So I just read off all of those names or cited all of those names, and we've all been kind of in tune with what's happening in camp. Am I misspeaking in saying that this writer who said this is like off his rocker? I don't think so. I think there's a very good chance that 6 of these guys or 7 of these guys could make it to the active roster. Like, so far, Cannon is doing his thing. Parry is doing his thing. We have an injured Leggett and a high-performing Herndon doing his thing. Sam's going to make it. I'd say the only one which is maybe questionable is Foley.
Fatakasi.
There you go.
So, again, I think it goes back to what I said earlier. If there's a void of talent in front of them, they're going to have to be on the 53-man roster because there's nobody there. You stripped the D-line.
True.
Right? So who are we going to replace it with? That was the question mark. So now you have to throw the rookies out there because who else do you have? So running back, Cannon was kind of on the bubble because then Elijah goes down. So now he has to step up. So you have that there.
Got Thomas Rawls though, but he's not having a good camp.
No, he's not having a good camp, and he bounced around a little bit after having that one good year in Seattle. So I mean, it's not like he's you got LaDainian and
True,
starting in front of him. So then you have Herndon again. Who are we going to have as tight end? That was a big question mark. SJ left. Okay, there's a void, and obviously you're not going to Shepard again, D tackle. Who else is starting there? And then you have Darnold at quarterback. He's going to be on the active roster. Absolutely. You drafted him number 3, so you really have no other choice at that point for that. So I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because of the fact that the last 2 years of his drafts, what do we have from those drafts?
Not that much.
Not that much. So that's all I'm saying. I love the fact that these guys are doing well. That's awesome. Let's see him in front of some NFL competition. And let's backfill other players next year and the year after to fill some other voids, offensive line, by the way, and whatever. So I'm not ready to this year, he did a pretty darn good job.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to, say that he did a fantastic job yet just because these players are playing.
I hear you. I've heard GMs and even Herm Edwards say this. If you go into a draft and you draft for any particular year and you're able to out of your entire draft picks, let's just say you have 9 or 10, but if you draft and you have 3 guys that start for you and you can do this each year, that is a telltale sign of a successful franchise. So let's just say, okay, fine, they all make the team, and you were just arguing the point of hopefully they're making the team for the right reason, not because of a dearth of talent, but because they really are good draft picks. We kick it up a notch from there, and it's like, hopefully 3 out of those guys could start. And who would those 3 be that you guys would want to see start? And not just want to see, but actually would be highly productive in their starting roles for the Jets.
Yes, let me just say this because I have the individuals that we're talking about. In the last 2 drafts, 17 and 18, 16 and 17. Not looking at 18. Just 16 and 17.
Sure.
Jamal Adams. This is 17 I'm talking about. Jamal Adams, Marcus May.
Okay.
Darius Stewart, who we're talking about.
No.
Chad.
Okay.
Right. Chad Hansen.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Leggett. Dylan Donahue, who I haven't heard a whole lot about.
I hear 2 starters so far.
Right. I'm talking about. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah McGuire.
2 starters.
Okay. Jeremy Clark. Derek Jones. We're talking about Derek Jones.
Yes, we are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about 16. Darren Lee, Christian Hackenberg.
3 starters.
Okay.
Yeah, Hacking.
Jordan Jenkins,
Starting.
Justin Burris, who we're talking about getting a roster spot. Brandon Shell.
Starting. So that's
Right.
3 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Lack
5.
Edwards.
5.
No, starters?
So that's 5 stars out of the 2 years.
Okay, so now we're looking for that 6th one because I was saying it should average 3 per year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so keep going.
Lack Edwards. I don't even know if Sharon Peak is on the team anymore.
He is, but he's not getting that much run.
Right.
Not at all. Okay, so out of those 5,
Did you include Elijah McGuire?
no, because he's not a starter.
Right, but he's hurt right now.
But I mean,
He wouldn't have been a starter.
he wouldn't have been a starter anyway.
Because we signed
Kroll, and also he's
Kroll.
not surpassing Powell either.
I think he could have surpassed Powell this year.
Yeah.
They were talking about letting Powell go before they signed Elijah McGuire. I mean, excuse me, Isaiah Crowell.
Right.
Right? So my point is, again, as much as I am not a fan of our GM, this speaks to maybe I need to be changing my attitude, towards his ability.
But again, like the safeties
As negative as I am about him.
Listen, we love our safeties.
Yeah.
But they didn't fight in order to win the job. You know what I'm saying? So the argument
But
there.
we also haven't drafted any safeties in the last 2 or 3 years.
Listen, I don't. Everybody that you mentioned, Jamal Adams is the one person that I can say is like, that's a talent, right? He made the under 25. Kyle mentioned it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the talented guy out of everybody that you mentioned. The other people, Jenkins, an outside linebacker, we still not set at outside linebacker. We're not like we love Jenkins.
No.
May, I love him. So I love him. So I can say that. The rest of the players that you're talking about, Shell, he's starting, and we're saying the offensive line is not that great, right? So he's starting because there's nobody else at right tackle for him to even compete with. So that's where I'm coming from. It's not like we're saying Shell is on the under 25 and May is on the under 25, although I felt like he should have been. That's 2 out of the 5. They're starting because you have nobody else there. There's no veteran that they competed with in order to take the spot.
Yeah. I think Nathan Shepard will start.
I think he's going to start
that again. Yeah. What was that?
I think Nathan Shepard will start.
So do I. I agree.
He'll play in a rotation, but he'll start.
Yep.
Who's the outside?
He's already 25.
Who's the defensive?
He's got to start.
Who's the right? He ain't got a lot of time left.
He better start.
Who's the defensive tackle or outside defensive lineman that we traded for?
Henry Anderson.
Yeah.
And what are they talking about him? I haven't heard anything about this guy.
No, he's been doing well. He's like he and Nathan Shepard are the guys that are gonna
be the rotating.
Okay. Yeah. They're 1A 1B right now.
Okay. Even Darren Lee, you could say he's starting, but it was questionable. Like he had an okay year last year. It wasn't like he was a phenomenal inside linebacker. So we'll see. The third year, hopefully, he takes that jump.
Yeah.
Hopefully he takes that jump. But you watched him be out of position or get blocked out of plays and this and that last year,
or not pass cover well too. That was
that too. And now he was supposed to be
all
over that.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, what's up with this kid?
So we'll see. See. That's all I'm saying. I just want to take the other side of the coin here in the fact that they're starting, but I mean, who are they taking the jobs from?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Henry Anderson is the equivalent of a 6th-round pick as a starter.
Yep.
That's great.
I mean, that's what he is. That's what you gave away to get him. You brought in a starter for that pick, which I don't even know who the Colts picked with that pick, or how significant that guy is or isn't. So
and we've been talking about draft picks. But we can kind of dive somewhat into the rookie, the
free agent.
the UFAs. My guy, Kerry loves Herndon, and I love Dimitri Flowers. So I hear Dimitri Flowers is having a good camp. He scored a touchdown. It was either in an inter-squad scrimmage type setting in practice or at the game at Rutgers, and I forget where I read it, but I heard that he slipped out of the backfield. And Sam threw him a nice pass, and he caught a nice touchdown pass. They're saying that he's multifaceted. He's not like he blocks well, but he's not like the true fullback that we have on our team. I think he's not even that true because he was a converted D lineman who was the fullback.
Lawrence Thomas.
Yes, Lawrence Thomas. But they're saying that he catches, he blocks, he can line up as an H-back tight end type as well. And he can give you that tough goal line type of run yardage as well. The guy, like I said before, he reminds me of Brad Baxter with better hands, Mm-hmm. So I loved that pick. And then also we were talking about there was another player that I'm forgetting now. Undrafted free agent that is doing pretty well in camp. Is that McBride? He wasn't drafted.
Undrafted this year?
Not this year, but just in general. But I think he's a second-year player, and
McBride's a second-year player, I believe. I'm gonna look it up right now.
You got it, yeah. But he's a second-year player, and he's having a very good camp as well.
Well, you can give him credit for Robbie Anderson too, which is another undrafted free agent.
Yeah, there you go.
You can give him credit for
starter.
Absolutely. Starter. There you go. So
Trey McBride is 4 years in the league from William and Mary.
Okay.
The FCS guy.
The other thing that I think is going to have a significant impact on how well the Jets do is their special teams. And if they have improved their punt return, kick return game, because last year they had neither. And I'm wondering if Andre Roberts, along with the 6th-round running back who we were talking about, is going to have any impact on that.
All right.
Trenton Cannon.
Love him.
So again, if we can be in the middle of the road, maybe the 15th ranked or even the 18th ranked special teams I think we can have 18. My point is that we were like at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah,
and punt return and kick return. We were so ineffective. It was ridiculous. It's like we shouldn't be kicking the ball because we know that we're receiving the ball or kicking the ball for that matter, because we know that we're not going to do anything with it. It is catch the ball where it lands, and that's it.
So then how come Brian wanted to bring back what's that receiver's name that ended up going to San Francisco? Curly. Brian wanted to bring back Jeremy Curley like in the worst way.
Get out of town.
I just cut to your shot, B.
Get out of town. Get out of town.
Lucky Whitehead.
Anyway.
Yeah. He couldn't stand Curly after a while.
Trey Williams might be who you're talking about. He's a linebacker from Auburn, and he's a 2018 undrafted free agent.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the dude.
No, it's
but he's
not
up
the
there.
dude.
Frankie Lavu.
Yeah. And Copeland, too. Copeland, another outside linebacker. Lavu and Copeland started last night, and they're saying that they both are doing well in camp. I don't know too much about Copeland, but I just hear he's a high motor guy.
Right.
And that
Luvu's got a motor. Luvu's got a major motor.
Yeah. A major motor.
A lot of tackles for loss.
Okay.
Nice. Let's
in college.
Let's go.
It's training camp season.
Yeah.
We're talking about how it might be a good idea for us to tell some of the Baldwin football training camp stories.
Here we go.
Back in the day.
Training camp.
Camp Colang. Did you go to Colang? You went to Equinox, Kerry, right?
Yeah, I went to that one. Equinox. I can't tell my stories because they are not G-rated. This was back in. This was right 5 years before you guys.
Brooklyn Tech training.
The Brooklyn Tech training camp, exactly. So we had what we would do is we would have basketball games every night against Brooklyn Tech, full court, and they were not G-rated.
Sure. Any fights break out on the court?
All the time, constantly. But then by the end of the game, we were all, we would always, right, exactly. Have a good time. And funny because one of my best friends in college, Malik Watler, give me a shout out. Just come to find out, just small world. One of the dudes that we would scrap up with was his first cousin because he went to Brooklyn Tech as well. Funny. But those guys were great, man. I would definitely say those guys were great. We had great times with those guys. So shout out to Brooklyn Tech. Shout out to you. Shout out to Brooklyn Tech 87.
Yeah, Tech.
Wow, 87. Good Lord.
Good
Lord.
But go ahead, Kyle. I want to hear your story.
Well, mine's more of a hell week, like the week before you go to training camp.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room knows the name Dorian Fisher.
A Baldwin Bruin great.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, he played at Baldwin and then went to the SEC to play at Tennessee, and he was, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was 6 foot, 235 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say
he
so.
Sounds about right.
Easily played bombers with him.
So I get a call from Coach Carroll, like August 15th of my freshman me that I'm being moved up to JV for that season. We had a freshman team at the time, and I get called in to come to the Hell Week, the first week of camp, and we go through a few days and we get the pads on, and it's time to do tackling drills, and I'm in the group. It's like a circuit, and I'm in the group with Dorian Fisher, and all of a sudden I'm counting the numbers in the line.
I know you were.
There's
I'm sure.
There's like the ball carrier line, and then there's the tackler line, and I'm counting the numbers. And if things go the way they're looking, I'm gonna have to tackle Dorian when it gets up to my turn.
Woo.
And
you should have acted like you had to tie your shoelaces. That's you should let somebody hop in front of you. Oh, coach, I got to tie my shoelace.
Yeah.
my stomach starts to get a little queasy. As I anticipate this matchup here, and I think it was Coach Richie Carroll who was running the drill, and it gets up to me and Dorian, and I'm looking across, and he got the big shoulder pads and the Donzi thigh pads, which I actually wore 3 years later.
His Bonzi? You wore his own Bonzis.
I wore his thigh pads my senior year. The big thigh pads that I had.
Yeah.
Donzi thigh pads. So it gets to where I'm in front, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go here. I'm ready to go. And Coach Carroll says, "Get him out of here. He can't." Holds me by the jersey and throws me back. You got to match these guys up right. Crazy.
Did you have the neck roll on at the time?
Double.
I had the old neck roll, like the round one.
Oh,
not
not the calf one that looks like horns.
Yeah, the steer one. Yeah,
right.
like Brian Bosworth.
Right.
Not the cowboy collar. That was.
I never liked the aesthetic. Andy Perlow. You remember Andy Perlow, who's a year older than us? He used to wear the
big roll.
No, it wasn't big. He used to wear two of them, the double neck. Yeah. Couldn't stand that aesthetic. Sorry, Andy Perlow. I don't know where you are, but
he looked good in his uniform.
Go Bruins.
What you trying to say?
I didn't like it at all.
He's getting at Andy Perlow. Andy Perlow doesn't even know he's come and get it.
Funny.
Come and get it.
The double Pillsbury biscuit.
All right, folks. He's got a biscuit around his neck.
Brandon, what happened in the lineman cabin with Chris Carrillo?
You're bringing that one up. All right. Well, you know what? This is a true story. All right. So, in football, you separate the players. Linemen are in the lineman cabin. Receivers and DBs are together, and then you have running backs and stuff. I think linebackers are together, right? I think.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the way it was.
Yeah. So we're in the lineman cabin. And we're all there. I think we might have spent maybe just one day there. We're still kind of getting acquainted and acclimated to our surroundings. And I'm on my bed, maybe, I don't know, just getting ready for the next session or something like that. And there's people in the bathroom washing up, maybe in the showers or whatever, people doing their own thing. And all of a sudden, you hear this thing in the bathroom. Boom, 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 boom. And everybody's like, oh, snap, what's that? And then you hear, my leg, my leg, my leg, with a heavy Spanish accent, my leg. And then we run into the bathroom. You see Chris Carrillo, butt naked.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, on the ground. Yeah, he's a big lineman. On the ground, right? All exposed. The ground has, whenever you walk in anywhere from outside with your cleats on, there's mud and grass and everything. Yeah. It's all in the bathroom. He's sitting in a heavily soiled bathroom. The planks were kind of weak, and he fell through the floor, so his foot went all the way through
the floor.
Well, he didn't fall all the way through, but his leg from his hip. God died over there.
From the hip.
From the foot all the way up to the top of the knee.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So he was sitting in there, and he's like, "My leg, my leg."
The floorboards were rotted out.
I think so. One of them, he crashed right through it.
Oh my God!
He crashed right through it.
You gotta say, Carrillo was a big dude, though.
He was a big dude.
He was a big dude. He was like, I think he was like 275 our senior year. Right. A little bit taller than me. Big boy.
Yeah.
And so he fell through. He's butt naked. Naked. So then we're like, it's weird. Like, we're in high school. We're looking at another naked dude sitting there talking about my leg. Do you go over there to help him? It's weird. And you're looking, it's weird.
It's only in the lineman cabin.
Trying to get the cold out of your eyes. Like, what am I seeing here? What am I seeing here?
And then, he's naked. It's weird because it's all muddy and dirty anyway. And then his foot is all the way, like, I don't know if submerged is the right word, but it's way in. And then he's like, So then we're like, all right, call the coach. So somebody runs and goes to get the coach.
Right. What's the coach going to do?
And then another dude, I forget who the other guy was. Let's just say it's either Kevin Smith or Laco because we know that they watch the show. They come over and bring a towel and just kind of throw it on him so that he can cover that up.
Cover
all that up.
Right.
He covers it up, and then coach is making his way, and then after a while, you just see Carrillo get frustrated and yank his whole leg out himself, and you hear it go, doosh, and it comes out, and then he starts like limping or whatever.
Right.
But then the funny part is...
That's not the funny part?
Well, that's the funny part. Carrillo, we love you, baby. Go Bruins. You know what I'm saying? The funny part is there were like talks back and forth, and Alaco was saying, yeah, it was crazy. And also, Chris Carrillo said that there was a squirrel biting his foot while it was like submerged between the floorboards.
Was it a squirrel?
We will never know.
Right. Oh my God,
chipmunk.
Might have been something. God. We were out there in the woods, man. So it could have been
anything.
I think it might have been like a rodent.
Right.
Some type of varmint.
Nah,
or
a weasel. I had a mongoose.
Might have been a mongoose. Nah, if it was Jamaica, it would have been a mongoose.
Oh, wow.
More fun.
Ricky Tikki Tavi.
Ricky Tikki Tavi.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, that lineman's cabin was crazy. It was funny. I remember we tricked Marcus Henry because he used to get dark like in the morning. It was still really dark, like nighttime dark.
Right. Yep.
And then we gathered up and we had to go for like a morning 3-mile run. I think it was.
Yes.
And it was still dark when we all left. So we went to sleep. I think we woke Marcus up at like midnight, and we all got ready. We're like, Marcus, get up, man. Come on, Captain, we got to go. We got to go for the run. And we all gathered around outside as if we had to go and run. And then we just all ran back in the cabin. And Marcus started running and then just like spun around. He was pissed.
I'm sure he was.
He was pissed. And he ran back in the cabin, flipped over somebody's bed. I was like, yo, don't flip mine over. Dude. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, snap. He wanted to fight someone. We were all dying. Oh, man, that was something else. Love Marcus Henry. R.I.P.
Absolutely. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows Marcus Henry, too, knows that he was the sweetest guy in the world. And, you had to do a lot to get him mad.
Oh, yeah.
And he was fuming mad.
Fuming.
Like, he would have beat somebody bad that night.
I wanted no parts of him. No way.
Especially with everybody laughing about it because everybody was on the coaches were on the floor laughing because it was a good prank.
Yeah.
Right. It was a good solid prank.
Like from a prank's position, it was epic. But you don't want to be on the receiving end of that prank. Because I would have tried to. Oh man, I would have flipped out.
Oh, I would have been so happy that I could still go back to bed.
Yeah. Oh, and for Carrillo, despite falling through a floorboard, he was back at practice 2 days later. So he was fine. And but that was something else.
Sure.
It was a little weird too. It was weird and muddy and gross. It was, I don't know.
Those cabins were nasty to begin with.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh! Like you had to take some Clorox, some
for
wet
real.
wipes.
Right.
Anti disinfecting everything.
Totally. Oh my
You
goodness.
talking about going to a hotel room and Lysol the remote? You had to Lysol the entire room.
Sure.
Those rooms are disgusting.
Oh, and what about?
What I'm upset about is that they don't go to camp anymore. I think coaches are reconsidering it, and I tried to explain it to my son because he's supposed to be going up whenever he decides. But that's the one thing I miss that I regret that he is going to miss football camp.
Yeah, definitely lifetime memories.
Brings the team together.
It does bring the team together.
Absolutely.
It definitely brings the team together. And remember, we used to do those shows afterwards, and I remember Biza imitated Coach Irvin. He put powder in his hair. Because he had that white streak in his hair.
Sure.
And then he was like, Mike Staffarelli, I want you running up the daggone sidelines, up the sidelines. So we used to do little mock shows and stuff.
Yep.
I think that was our junior year. I remember that. And then our senior year, I wasn't a part of it.
Sure.
But someone stole Lehigh, the cannon, I think, Kyle.
Why are you asking me about it?
There's a rumor that Kyle did it.
No clue of what you're talking about.
No, Kyle. Why do you think I call Captain? Kyle, Captain Kyle McKenna. He was one of our team captains. He might have been in the know. So in the know. It doesn't mean that he participated.
Hey.
Like a good gangster, I get other people to do the
exactly.
The
That's what I'm talking about.
Make the plan.
Make the plan, and then
we have to give the cannon back, though. They made us give it back.
Yeah, Coach made us give it back, but we were fired up because that cannon used to go off like every morning, right, or something like that. It was this big boom, and we plotted. We were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get this cannon."
It was more fun just acquiring, just knowing that we could get it. Was actually more fun than keeping it. It's like you catch a big fish, you throw it back.
Exactly, no malice at all. It's just the fact that we could do it and it was fun and it was an
Patriot League.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you feel it for the Patriot League. Yeah.
I'm a Fordham fan.
Yeah, I'm a Lafayette. No, I'm Bucknell. Bucknell. Hey, you guys gonna let these guys from Bucknell come down? No, that's a whole nother story. That's a Hofstra story. But anyway,
shout out to my guy Lawrence Mena, who's starting his senior year at Fordham this year, starting safety, outside linebacker. He's the hybrid type. We might be talking about him a year for the draft. My guy Mahmoud too from Brooklyn Tech is starting left tackle at Monmouth since last year.
Nice. Congrats.
Already
Coach.
got 20. He got 20 reps on 225 already. So he's getting ready for that.
So he's catching up to me.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you know what? Last summer I got 19 reps.
Okay.
Yeah, I did last summer. 19 reps.
All right, what'd you say? It was 125?
Funny. All right.
125.
Okay.
But you did it on the universal.
Oh Lord.
He put the pin at 225 on the leg press and just started repping.
You gotta love the comic relief of Kerry Taylor, baby. And you know what else you gotta love? You gotta love the BKBK podcast.
That's right.
Everybody, thanks for joining us for this week's edition of the BKBK podcast. Thanks again for all the views. So keep watching. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK podcast fan page, Twitter on @BKBK podcast,
Twitter,
IG @BKBK podcast,
IG.
as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK, hit like, and subscribe to the show. Alrighty, that's love, baby. That's it. And let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go Team BKBK, baby. We love it. That was perfect timing for my rhyming. Yeah.
We still on? Oh, you gonna? Let's go Jets. Let's go Jets. Give him the angry face, we did.
Let's go Jets. Yeah, give it. Yeah, there she is. Now you do it, Kerry. Yeah, B.
Gotta love the daughters. Sons are great. The daughters, they're different.